So imagine we decided what is important to us, what is our priority. Imagine we decided that self-care is our priority, and we are going to have our 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, depends, in a day, in a certain time, if we more or less live and work a predictable schedule. How to make it actually happen? First, you just need to put timer on your mobile phone. And next to this timer, which just rings every time this time comes, and so you're ready to go, and it really tells you what to do, because if we are so deep somewhere else and not with ourselves that we can't make 15 half an hour time for our self-care, then basically we need reminders, and we need some external force to remind us, and it will be not very fair to put it on other people, but our mobile phone can just do the job. So you put alarm, and alarm can just say self-care time, and then you can put all these wonderful images and so on, which basically will prompt you to do exactly what you want to do. So this is one thing, this is time. And another thing is space, and this is equally important. So for example, you want to do your Colourpuncture for half an hour. You want to do your crystals. With a cat, it's a bit difficult, right? You can come up with your ideas, but basically we need to set up the space in advance. This is why it's so difficult with a cat, because cats come and go, and not necessarily they want to sit at this time that we decided we are going to stroke the cat. Anyhow, so if you're talking about something that depends only on ourselves, then you really need to have the space. So your timer rings, and it's not like your batteries are not working, your bulbs is not working, you don't know your protocol, you don't know what to do. You need to have it decided. You need to create what is called leading task. So for example, you're going to just imagine. So let's go to another extreme. Let's imagine that your self-care or your A1 task in a day is cooking some complex meal. Some complex, for example, meals with lots of vegetables. Now, if you come into the kitchen and you want to cook this meal and you don't have ingredients, you have to go to supermarkets, then you need to bring them home, then you need to wash them, then you need to peel them, then you need to chop them, then you need to find a recipe and so on. The chances of you actually cooking this meal are getting less and less with every step. But for example, if you already know what you're going to cook, you already did your shopping, and you already even washed your vegetables, and they're already sitting on your countertop. So you come to the kitchen and you actually just get on with peeling, chopping, cooking. That's it, it's done. Same with Colourpuncture. You know where your set is, your batteries are working, you know the protocol, it's all sitting there waiting for you. So the easiest you can do it for yourself, you can arrange the whole setup for yourself, the more success you're likely to have as a whole thing, and the more pleasurable and relaxing it will be. And then it will become a routine. And when something becomes a routine, it just becomes so easy, it becomes second nature. This is not even something that you need to put in your calendar. I found it with my morning writing, with journaling. At some point in my life, that was about 10 years ago, I always had some sort of a diary, some kind of journal since I was a teenager. It really helped me to just digest life, to just process what was happening to me, really reflect, trying to understand who I am and so on. Every now and again, I would have some kind of journal. But about 10 years ago, I decided that I have to start journaling in the morning, because there was an interesting time in my life and I was already on my path in general. But this path needed some adjustment and some little change of direction. Something wasn't quite working, even so I was in the right job, in the right industry, with right people and so on. But my particular participation, it wasn't so clear. So I decided to do this journaling. So I put it in my Google Calendar, not in my mobile, I can't remember why, but it was in my Google Calendar. So I would wake up in the morning and my Google Calendar would say 15 minutes of journaling, and it would say it every day. So I started doing it, and in the beginning it was very, very difficult. I found it really hard to keep to the habit. I had nobody to support me. There was nobody in this moment of time in the house, and I didn't have a life coach or a therapist, so it was just me and me with myself. I had to just go through this initial period of time. But then it became such a soul-feeding activity that I was really looking forward to waking up and writing something straight away, that it became really, really easy. And with time, it became a habit. And then with time, it became such a necessity that I just couldn't start my day without writing something first. I just started doing it, and I kept doing it pretty much every day for 9 years. 10 years. I still journal in the morning, but not necessarily every morning. And it's not necessarily like deep reflection when I need to clarify something. It just changed. It went through the whole evolution. Some years into this, I looked at my Google Calendar to schedule something. But then of course, I just removed it because it became second nature. And then I went several years back and I found those tasks writing every morning. And I thought, oh my God, why did I put it there? Obviously, I write it in the morning. Right? Just like, how else? You brush your teeth in the morning, you wake up, you get dressed. At some point, it became just part of life. But when I was starting the whole thing long ago, that wasn't so. And with any new habit, it isn't so for quite a lot of time.